everyone, Linda Israel here, and I'm going to make a little project here, and I'm going to use, you may call it ugly scrapbook paper. I picked up this paper a long time ago. It's normally 59 cents a sheet, and I got a whole package of it for a little over $1. It was on clearance, and I thought surely I can find some use for it, and I'm trying to use it up as much as I can. And it's thinner paper, and I want my project to have a little bit thicker base, so I just have a inexpensive piece of cardstock. And what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to use some of the Scrap Prefix BGE, the best glue ever, and I'm going to put a glue on the back side of this so that I can attach these two pieces of paper together. I kind of need to make sure that the pieces are stuck together really well because I'm going to cut these up. So I'm going across this, trying to make a little zigzag back and forth. And then what I'll do is I will line this up with the cardstock, and I may kind of pat it a few times to help transfer glue. Kind of spread it around. And then I will line these up as best as I can. I'm going to use my bone folder and just kind of push that glue to the edges. And that'll make sure these two pieces are adhered together. Alright, so I've adhered these two pieces together, and it's a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and I'm going to go ahead and work on the whole page because I know that I can cut it up for other projects. So the first thing that I want to share with you is my little glue sponge container, and I have a tutorial on how I made this. Basically, it's white glue with my sponge, and then I use a peg foam brush because I like the way that works. And then what I've done is I've had a couple of book pages and some hymnal pages that I have torn into smaller pieces. And what I'm going to do is, much like I do with the Franken page, some of the other collage things, I'm going to go in here and add glue and then add these pieces of paper just all over random onto this. And I don't want to have them all going in the same direction. I just want them all different directions, so there's not really worrying about, you know, how I'm placing these a lot, other than I want them different directions. Well, I've got all the bits of paper that I want to put on here. The next thing I want to do is I want to dry this thoroughly so I can either leave it like for an hour overnight to dry, or I can use my heat tool. And I'm going to use my heat tool, and then I'll be right back. Alright, it is dry, and I have a pastel pencil in black. And what I'm going to do is kind of give a little bit of some definition around these pieces of paper. I'm just going to go around all of them, and then once I've done that, I'll blend them. So I've added the pastel all the way around. Now I want to blend it. So I just have a Tim Holtz Ranger blending tool, and I'm just going to go around and kind of blend that pastel, and it just kind of helps make this a little more vintage looking. Alright, so I've blended that just a little bit, and I want to add some glitter and glam. And so I am going to use some Tattered Angels glam, and this one's called Night Sky, and it has glitter in it, so you want to make sure that you shake it up really well. And again, I'm going to open it away from my project, and I'm going to dip a paintbrush in here and just kind of add some marks on here. I'm not really paying attention to how I'm laying it down. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna add color here and there, and this will be a glaze look, so it'll be somewhat transparent. There'll be a little bit of glitter in it. It's not a super heavy one, this particular color anyway. Alright, I've added a little bit of glam on here, so I'm going to let this dry, and then I'll take it to my sewing machine. I've already got one that I worked on earlier, and I'll show you what it looks like. So here's what it looks like after I it is dried and I went around it with my sewing machine. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these up, and I'm going to cut it into 2-inch strips. So I'm just going to go on my little paper cutter here, and at the 2-inch mark I will make a cut. And then I'm going to turn this, and I want to continue to cut 2-inch squares. I don't think I'm quite in the photo there. 2-inch squares. I'm going to just cut 6 2-inch squares. So now I have these little squares. I'm going to set those aside for a moment. The next thing that I have here is I have some Pin Up Girls from Calico Collage, and these are domino images. So that means they're approximately 1 inch by 1.5 inch in size, if I remember correctly. Let me get my ruler out here. Oh, actually they're almost 2 inches by 1 inch. And these are perfect for what I'm working on today. So I'm going to trim a row of these out so that I can use them on these little squares. Alright, so I have one of the squares and one of the Pin Up Girl. So I'm going to add some Distress Ink black soot around the Pin Up Girl image from Calico Collage and around my little 2-inch square that I've made. And then prior to starting the video, I have this little postcard stamp that I've had for years and years and years that I stamped out with some Brutus Monroe detail ink. And I'm just going to use my scissors and trim it away from this scrap of paper. And I'm going to use some Distress Ink Vintage Photo and go around the edges. I'm going to add a little bit of the Vintage Photo to the domino image. Just another level of color around that edge. I've got the Scrap Perfect glue here with the No-Clog writing cap, and I want to make a very fine bead all on 3 sides of this little domino image. So I'm just barely kissing it to the page all the way around. And then I'm going to slit this on here. Let's look at this. Let's put it somewhat at a diagonal, but it doesn't overlap too much. And I'll just press that into place. And then I have some little pieces of lace here, so I'm just going to grab a little piece here. Probably like, it's probably more than I need. Do it like that. So I'm going to use the No-Clog writing cap to be able to apply a little bit of glue on the back side of this lace and then let this set right on top. I'm trying not to touch it too much because the glue will come through the lace and it'll stick to your fingers. I have some trim that I picked up. I don't know, it's just decorative trim that I got in the sewing department. And I just love these little flowers on here. So I'm going to cut a little piece of this off. And again, because I've got that No-Clog tip on my glue, I can go in and put precisely the amount of glue that I need to hold this in place. We'll set that right there. And I know that I want to add a little rhinestone here in just a moment, so I'm going to put just a drop up there in the corner. And it's okay, it can sit for a moment while I'm doing my next part. I have these words that are, it's old. I'm trying to use it in my stash. And like many of you, you're probably, you know, using up your stash as best as you can. And these were little words that came from 7 Gypsies many years ago. You could get the opposite effect or a different effect by printing words on your computer. Just have a black box and do the text in white. But I'm trying to use up what I have, and these are just cute little sticker words, and I'm going to stick one of those right here. And then I have some flat back gemstones and the embellish jelly. And I'm going to grab a gemstone and stick it in this glue. I put it down. And then this little postcard becomes another element because it's in a pocket. What do you think? Isn't that kind of cute? Let me show you some others that I made. Here are a few more. Same concept that I made. Let me zoom out and up a little bit. So there's a few that I made using the same concept, and as you can see, the background just gives it some depth. It makes it, to me, look very vintage, but every once in a while you can see one of the sequins coming through. Well, I hope you liked this little tutorial on making Twinchies. That's what these are called. They're 2-inch little trading cards that you can then trade with others. You can use these as an embellishment on a card. You can make these into an altered paper clip. There's really not a limit to what you could do with them. So here's a paper clip. So if I wanted to glue another piece of paper on the back, and then that would become an altered paper clip. It could be a closure to a journal type cover. You know, you could put it on an envelope. So there's all kinds of things that you could do with these. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. And if you feel that others will learn from this tutorial or any tutorial that I share or anybody else shares on YouTube, share them. You know, that's the word of mouth. When you share something, someone else sees it and then it catches fire and more people will share and share and share. You've seen those viral videos and comments and whatnot on the internet. You can be a part of that. So definitely share this. If you have any questions, please comment below. Of course, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. And make sure you hit that notification bell. I try to put out a video every few days, at least once a week on Saturdays. And depending on my schedule, I'll put more out. If there's something you're looking for, you want some more information about, comment below and I will try to put it into my schedule of posts that I'm sharing. Make sure you check the description box for the links to the products that I use as well as my blog. And I greatly appreciate each and every one of you for watching. Have a fabulous day. Bye.